Hello, everybody. It's Linda, and I've got another cute Halloween card to share with you. Today, I want to show you how I put together this card, and you will watch me make mistakes and struggle with my layout. And I did not decide to keep my ghosts like this until I was done with the card. But I'm showing you this first so that you know that when I'm gluing my little ghost down up here, that's now not how it's going to end up looking. It's going to end up looking like this because this is a more balanced layout. I will show you quickly. I had this little ghost up here and it was driving me crazy. I could not get this card to balance that way. So that's why I put my little ghost down here instead because I think that looks way more balanced. So, yeah, I hope you enjoy my tutorial. For those of you who are used to making cards, this will probably drive you a little bit crazy because I'm showing quite a lot of the process going on. I have done a lot of fast forwarding, so I hope you don't get dizzy. My camera is sometimes not focusing correctly, but there's nothing I can do about that, so I'm sorry. But I think the quality of the video is good enough to show you how it was all put together. So I hope you enjoy the video. Have a fun time watching, and I'll talk to you again soon. So, first of all, I used stamps from Your Next Stamp. I used the Halloween Cuties and the Fun Faces that I'm showing you here. So I started off stamping some ghosts, and I used stamps from the Halloween Cuties, and I used the ink from my favorite paint. It's a hybrid ink, so that I can color either with my markers or with my distress ink. So I want my ghost to have another facial expression, so I need to mask off his little cute face, and that's what I'm doing now. And then I'm inking up my stamp and removing my tape mask and stamping him. And when I've stamped him, I will just find a smiley face to give him some character. And again, that's one of the stamps from the Fun Faces. Like so. Aren't they cute? And I also need a boot for my card, but I need a boot without the little cat. And now I will show you how I created that boot. So first I just find some masking tape, and that's the normal painter's tape that I'm using. So I'm just masking up the cat. It doesn't matter if the tail shows because I'm going to fuzzy cut these images anyway. And I ink it up, I remove the mask, and I just stamp it. Then I grab my pencil and I just draw the boot in, the rest of the boot. And then I grab my fine point black pen. I use the Uni pen, fine line, and I just draw over what I just traced with the pencil. And now it's ready to fussy cut. So I start fussy cutting. And I was thinking I was going to show you the fussy cutting in case you're not familiar with the technique of fussy cutting. And what's important is that you move your paper and not your scissors so much. So that makes it a whole lot easier. And my dear friend Anna Zanero1 here on YouTube has got an excellent tutorial for fussy cutting if you want to get into it some more. And I will link to her fussy cut tutorial below this video. And my idea for this card was to have one of the little ghosts stuck in the boot. And of course, that's the ghost that's not smiling, that's going to be stuck in there. He looks kind of surprised, so I thought that was really fitting. And so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just tracing with my pencil and then I will fussy cut him out. And I don't care about the arms because I'm going to fussy cut them too. And I will keep a little bit of the paper and that's attached to the arms so that I can easily glue them back on to the little ghost. So now I'm just cutting an opening in the boot and I'm sticking him inside, and as you can see I'm now fussy cutting his little arms, and it's a bit difficult to stay in frame when you concentrate on things like that, but here I'm back in frame and just cutting, and as you can see I'm keeping a little piece of the paper to make it easier to glue back on, like so. Oh, that's the wrong way, so I'm going to change it to the other side. And I just use my Scotch quick dry adhesive glue to glue his arms back on. Okay, so I need one more ghost. So I quickly stamp my ghost onto some paper, and my mistake with this ghost will be apparent in just a few seconds after I fussy cut this, because I had actually stamped some ghosts on the back side of that paper earlier on, and I'm going to use the reverse side of this ghost, so it was not a good idea to use paper that was already stamped on the other side, as you can see. So that one had to go, and I had to do it all over again to get my little ghost, because like I said, I want him in reverse. So that's why I don't care about masking his face, because I'm going to stamp the face on the other side of the paper anyway. So here are my 3 ghosts, and now I'm finding a little smiley face for this other little guy that I just fussy cut, and he's laughing so hard his eyes are squinting. So I thought it was so cute, and they're of course laughing at their little friend who got stuck in a boot. So that's my idea for this card. And now I have to trace around the edges of this ghost to give him the black edge that the other stamps has got. And I'm using my Sharpie for this. You have to be aware if you use the Sharpie that it will bleed a little into the paper. So either you have to work fast or you have to use another pen that doesn't bleed as much. The Sig is better. The Sig pen does not bleed that much as the Sharpie. So I'm just getting into the nook and crevices of my ghost to make sure that he's got the black outline all the way around. And I'm just wiping my surface. I'm working on a glass cutting mat, and again I'm tracing around the edges of the other ghost here, because as you might remember, I just drew him and cut him smaller to fit him inside the boot. And now I'm just erasing the pencil marks that are there after I drew with my pencil earlier. And then I'm just retracing some of the lines to make them sharper. And I'm using this Spellbinders Halloween die as part of my background. I just cut it using my Big Shot. And now I'm using some black soot distress ink, just going over it lightly. As you can see, it was embossed. And for the ground up front, I'm just using some peel paint distress inks. And I was not happy with the color, so I wanted it to be a little bit stronger. So I used the twisted citron and just went over with that with the brush edge. And then I used vintage photo distress marker for the tree. And then I used my black soot distress marker to enhance some of the other details. And then I went around the edges using black soot distress ink. I cut out a panel using my Mama Elephant Femme Frames die, and I started inking up the background using distress ink. You see me coloring my background in landscape, but after finishing the coloring and everything, I changed my mind, and you'll see me color it in portrait. I cut out some grassy borders with my grassy borders die from my favorite thing. I've also used my Mama Elephant Trio border die to cut the hills in the background. And I inked everything using the peeled paint distress ink. And this is where I changed my mind about the direction, cut another panel with my Mama Elephant Femme Frame die. I then used my scalloped Femme Frame die to cut out the scalloped panel behind the background there. And I used some green cardstock to make the 5.5 by 4.25 card. So I just score it at 5.5. You see, I almost scored it at 6, but then I remembered and I scored it at 5.5. I then pull out my stamps to find a sentiment, and I decide to go for the happy haunting since it's little ghosts on my card. And I want to use the die from Magnolia, the signpost die. So I die cut that, and I use my Misty, most incredible stamping tool invented, is the name of that. And I use that to get an exact stamp impression of my sentiment onto my little sign. And as you can see, I'm fiddling around with the magnets because the magnets are super, super strong. You can actually pinch yourself if you get your skin between the magnets. So be careful with that. But the tool itself is magnificent. So I totally recommend it. There are a lot of tutorials on YouTube on how to use the Misty. And you can get it from Simon Says Stamp or from the woman who invented the Misty. And I will link to her below so that you can check out this tool if you haven't seen it before. It's super awesome. So I'm just partially inking up my stamp to get the impressions that I want. So that's what you're watching me do now. out of frame, and for that I'm sorry. And here I get back into frame. It's always like that when you have to concentrate on what you're doing and you're filming at the same time. Sometimes you get off frame, at least I do. So I apologize. Do my best. And here you see the stamped result, and I decide to distress it using vintage photo distress ink. I then ink the edges of the bottom of my background panel using field paint distress ink. I glue my panel to my card, and this is where I glue it upside down so that I have to peel everything off and turn it the right way. So please check your orientation of the panel and the card before you glue things down and not make the same mistake as I did. I'm going over the edges using my black paint dabber, and then I start to assemble my card and glue down the pieces and the layers. I just marked with my pencil so that I know where exactly to glue down this bit. This is the Spellbinders die, and it was just inked with distressing and stuff, so that you've seen me do earlier. And here I'm gluing down my other background bits and pieces, and I'm just popping them up using some pop-dots, which you will see that I have to peel off a couple of pop-dots in just a minute just to make it secure, or to be able to secure it to the sides of my card there. Sorry, I'm out of frame. Now I'm just cutting off the excess, and here you see me peeling off those glue dots and gluing it down. I want it to be glued down to the sides there. And then going over the edges with my black paint dabber. Gluing down some extra grass for some more dimension and interest, and here I'm just placing my bits. But as you can see, I'm going to color this little boot here, and using some purple colors of distress ink and my water brush. My water brush, I don't know what label it is. I think maybe it's a Sakura or something, but it's a nice water brush. I like the flow of water from it, because some of the brushes say the water flows too much for my liking, but this one is okay, I think. It's an old water brush that I've had for years. So you'll just see me put down layers of color until I'm happy with how things look. So now I'm starting to put together the scene with the sign, and I'm trying to decide which cross to use or if to use them at all. And you will see me not using the large cross but the small one. The large one was just too big, and I'm just now gluing things down using pop dots on top and then normal glue at the bottom. And I'm just making sure to cover all the white cut edges on my ghost and boot so that the white doesn't show, because I have cut them close to the stamped edge and it's not nice, I think, if the white edge shows on your card. So that's why I'm using my zig marker to go over the edges on all the ghosts and the boot. I'm now trying to position the little ghost so that the tree in the background will still show a little. So I end up covering parts of it, but then parts of it is showing still. So sitting here looking at my card now, after it's all done and everything, because I'm, as you probably understand, just putting the comments on top of this video. When I look at my card, I think that this is a more balanced scene than what I'm ending up with. When I put my ghost up in the corner there, I don't know, it's just something about it that just doesn't work totally. So if you want to copy my card, I think you should just leave out the top ghost there and just keep the two ghosts at the bottom of the card. I think that would look nicer. And here I'm just using my gel pen and going over the writing. The gel pen adds a little bit of dimension and it makes the writing blacker so it stands out more. And I'm also using it to make the eyes and the mouth of the little ghosts pop. I'm then using my signal pen to put little white dots on the cheeks of the ghosts. And I start to glue down the stars. Just try and not make a mess with the glue, because if you use glue that dries clear, it will show up on your background. So try to keep the glue under control and maybe use like a Ranger matte medium to glue down little things like these. And of course the solid stars, you could use micro glue dots to glue them down, just as you do sequins. And that would just prevent the seeping of glue. You're now watching me struggle a bit with placing the last stars. It's a bit of back and forth until I decide on where I want them to go to balance out my composition. I think the struggle is because of what I mentioned, the upper left ghost there, because that makes the card a bit unbalanced, because you get like 4 major parts of this card, the sign and the 3 ghosts, instead of just keeping it down to 3 major design elements, because that would make everything more balanced. So just keep that in mind. So that concludes my card. So I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful time creating cards, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.